Hello guys, this is Viviana Castañeda and this is a space created by digital mompreneurs to talk and to interview these empowered women that have got the guts and the courage to create their own digital businesses. So today we have a special guest. She is Olga Gulati and she's based in Spain and she's a psychologist. So let's learn about her journey as a digital mompreneur now. How she get into business. For sure we all can relate to some stories, and this is amazing to share this kind of stories because we all here are moms, and it's amazing to see all the challenges that we have to face. So let's get into it. Let's see if Olga is here. I'm waiting for her. She's not here yet. I'm gonna send an invitation. Let's wait for a little bit more to see if Olga gets in. Just waiting for her. We definitely don't have the same time we did before our kids, and it is hard when we want to keep going with our professional lives to balance our life. It is not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. We are too busy. But I can tell you guys it is so possible. And this is why I'm doing these interviews, so you know and you see that this is something that can be done. If this is something that you really want to do, because it has so much benefit. Like you can get so much learn. You will not be sharing your time with people that you don't want to. You will be sharing your time with people that you really want to. And Olga is here. I'm gonna just a minute. Hi Olga, I'll be with you in a minute. So yes guys, this is so it's an incredible thing to do now because we all have access to internet now, and this is a powerful tool to create our own digital businesses. So I encourage you all, if you are interested, do it. Don't think about it.
Thank you for inviting me.
No, that's it's my pleasure. I have to say, guys, as I said in the presentation, Olga is a psychologist, and I had the pleasure to be in her consultations when I was going through a difficult time in my life, and I really encourage people who is going through that to be, get a professional because they know what they're talking about. And Olga she does a combination of mind, spirit, and health, right? Now,
yes.
we will be talking about her business later on in the interview, but let's get started. So, Olga, I want to know how did you first get into business?
I want to say always, in the sense that what I tell people is that ever since I was a little girl, I always knew that I wanted to be either a doctor or a psychologist. So from the very, very beginning, I started finding ways to somehow put out there what I was thinking of and what I was learning about. So I started having a blog when I was very young. And as soon as I graduated from college, I got a job. I think I was blessed to start that real soon. And the first formal job that I had was creating a nonprofit, or started that nonprofit organization saw that in me ever since I started doing my internship. So quickly I was invited to be part of that. Then this was many years ago, like 20 years ago. I was working, my job was more really as a social worker. And I loved that job. And I actually did it by someone kind of meant that I needed to give up one of the areas that I was interested in or one of the things that I had studied.
That was actually my next question, but you just responded, because definitely there was a motivation, right? Like, even though you've had this entrepreneurship soul since you were little and everything, you also had to have this kind of motivation, extra motivation, and your motivation was, I don't want to work with someone else because I want to do my thing on my own terms, and I want to complement everything in this way, and that's what you're doing, and that's amazing. That's the good thing of creating businesses and do whatever you want to do in life. So I love that. That's amazing. Olga, how did you move from, because you've been an entrepreneur for a long time ago, right? So how did you move from a normal business to get into digital? And why did you start doing that stuff? How was that process?
I think that started really early on because I moved out of Colombia, which is where I'm from, which is where we're from,
Yes.
a long time ago. The first time, it's been now maybe 13 years. And I had already built like a community of people that I worked with that was not going to move with me. So then I started to think, if I'm going to go somewhere else. And then I was not even thinking really about specifically offering services, but I was like, I need to stay connected somehow. And that's when I started like my first more really formal blog, where I was talking about like mental health and nutrition. And I was like, okay, maybe this is the way in which I, at least through comments and threads, then, this does not really exist anymore. You don't have like a conversation on a blog. People have this like through Instagram or doing one-on-one work. Also, did you start going virtual since the pandemic? And I was like, no, I started going virtual like 18 years ago when I realized that if I want
for balance in their lives, this is a really place to go, because you talk about health, mind, spirit, and how to complement all those things. Honestly, I've been learning actually in the last few months that we can get everything in place and be happy in all aspects of our life. So it is a work that we have to continue to do and keep going and keep growing. But that's amazing that you've been doing this for such a long time now. So
it's interesting because then it was just like I really didn't see it 18 or 15 years ago as an online business. I was just thinking I'm doing a business. I just have Skype calls. But I would say that I did transition into a full, like, conscious, structured online business only maybe 8 years ago when we started the YouTube channel.
And that's pretty interesting as well. Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say this is pretty interesting as well because you are a mom now, right? How old is your kid?
She's gonna be 10 in 3 months.
So that's the thing. So when you started your YouTube account 2 years before that, you had your baby, right?
Yes, she was, so she's going to be 10. Yeah, so that's exactly like I said, 8 years ago. She was 2 or 1.5. And actually, she was part of the inspiration to start a YouTube channel because then at that moment of my career, because I just had received my certification as a nutrition educator, then most of the coaching that I was doing was geared towards the nutrition aspect of health. And so people always are like, oh my gosh, you're like full of surprises. So for the people to know, I'm a professional chef as well. I've always liked cooking, and I always thought that I wanted to do that one day in my life, and I did it earlier than I thought I would. And then it turned out that it helped the fact that I was a chef, because I could create recipes that could recreate the theory that I was transmitting to my clients in the nutrition coaching. So we thought, my husband and I, which we've been working together, he's the one, I know nothing. This is the other interesting thing.
Okay.
I think we have amazing skills to communicate, but I know nothing about technology. So we have a YouTube channel thanks to my husband. We have a website thanks to my husband, and we started having an Instagram account because of him. He's the one that has really had that awareness that we needed to become more
to Digital Mompreneur.
Do and show recipes with Juno. So our first videos are Juno and I cooking.
Juno is the name of your kid.
Yes, and that's why my business is called Juno Health and Wellness, because that's her name.
There you go. I didn't know that. Yeah. And that's a beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you.
So, Olga, because she was little, and this is a question that I love to ask to digital mompreneurs, because she was 1.5, how did you manage to keep growing on your business while raising your kid, and what were the biggest challenges you have at the time?
The first biggest challenge was that my husband and I had agreed, then he was the one that was really providing for the home. Okay. And we had agreed that we wanted at least one of us to be home. We did not want to send our daughter to a daycare when she was little. So I was the one being home because he was the one that had a more formal, like structured job. And I was the one that was able to make the decision to say, for example, you know what, if there's a day where I don't want to take clients, then I just don't schedule and that's it, and I can be with Juno. So the main challenge was that, like time management. And because Juno was so little, really what happened at first was that it was stressful, because sometimes I would like schedule appointments with clients during the day while she was napping. And then sometimes she would wake up in the middle of the session. But people understood, I do have to be very grateful for the people that I've worked with. When Juno was little, they were very understanding of the fact that I was stay-at-home mom and that could have happened. But then also other times, just to make sure that I really had the time and the privacy to focus on the people that I was working with, I would just wait for Pavan to get home, my husband, and do that. So it felt at first a little bit like I had a double life. The one during the day and the one during the night, but the one during the night was like the working mom. So we would shoot videos sometimes at night. I would write my blogs at night after Juno had gone to bed. I would take clients at 8 p.m. at night because she was already sleeping, or sometimes maybe I would get a chance to do it at 6 p.m., but that's because my husband had arrived home and he could take her so that I could do that. So juggling that time and organizing that was not very easy at first, and it was a challenge, and I would get really frustrated and I would be really tired, and many times I would think like, I can't do this, I'm not going to do this, I'm just going to like wait for her to be 10 years old and then go find a job. But then the next day, again, the curiosity that I always had inside and that need that I had to really be able to communicate the message that I felt that I had that would help people would move me to just do it again. It was like, in the morning, I was like, yeah, and then at night, I was like, no, and then in the morning again, I was like, yes. And it was like that for a while. But the thing is that I've always had that strong clarity that this is what I wanted to do. And that's why I've trusted still, because there's times also when, like you say, the freedom of doing what we want to do is something that nothing and nobody can pay. The value of that is, it's not measurable. But then also sometimes the fact that you are the only one responsible for yourself, that you're the one that gives yourself the paycheck, and then you never know really how it's going to go, that can be stressful too. So being an entrepreneur, it's an emotional roller coaster. And of course, the more time passes by and the more that you gain experience and the more that people get to know you, things become more and more stable. But it's still a stable that's completely different from a person that's hired by a company that's getting a paycheck every 2 weeks or every month. Yeah, but if you think about it,
people who are still in the working for someone else and that kind of stuff, I think that the feeling that we have when we are doing when we're working for someone else is security, but in the end we can get fired anytime. That company can just don't open the doors anymore, and what do? Go and find another job and try to get hired again. So it's really not security. I think at least when we are working to get our own paycheck, we are doing it and we know we're gonna get something. It's the job of an entrepreneur. Fill the tank again. That's our job. So it's really interesting. It depends on the perspective, I guess, of each person.
Yeah, of course. And one of the things that I've learned throughout all these years is that when you are 100% sure that you're doing what you want to do, you enter a vibration that helps you attract what you need to make your entrepreneur business sustainable and very successful.
Definitely. So it leads me to my next question. How do you confront doubt when it comes to this feeling of failure or this feeling of, oh my God, I'm not gonna get enough pay this month and I have my kid and I need to pay these things? So how do you confront this doubt of scarcity, if I can say that?
Being aware of the fact that those limiting beliefs always come from ego. And I do have to say that here comes in or kicks in my knowledge as a psychologist, as a therapist, where I'm aware of, and as a psychologist also that knows that integrates the idea of us human beings having like an essence, a soul, whatever you want to call that. So to me, it's very clear that when you feel so strongly about something, you're receiving guidance from something that's way bigger than your mind. And that has a way and gives you a sense of like groundedness that not even the speech or the limiting beliefs of the ego can debunk if you are able to go back and connect with that. Because look at, you make me think of, like I've said, I've moved from countries very many times. The first time was to the United States. Within the United States, we lived in different cities. That's when I got married. I had my daughter. Now we live in Spain. When we came to Spain 5 years ago, my husband decided to quit his job. That was something extremely important and scary for this family because, like I told you guys earlier, he was the one taking care of the expenses for the house, for the family for all those years. So when he quits his job to take this leap of faith with me, working both of us together for Judo Health and Wellness, I went through that doubt. The first 6 months here, I just cried my eyes out every single day. But every time that I would settle and try to find some sort of peace to connect with the voice coming from the gut, what I would always hear is, it's okay, it's scary, but you're going to be fine. And that's when you know that the limiting beliefs and the voices that say that, oh my gosh, what have you done? This is scary. When we get to the point where blah, 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 is just ego. If you do follow the desires and the project and the purpose that your soul, that your gut has, things will be fine. And now 5 years after, I can say that we are more than okay, that we are a lot more than okay. But you just have to persevere and stay there and trust. But you do need to find that connection with yourself that's deeper than the speech that you have in your mind.
So I think we all know the answer, but is it worth it then? The whole pain?
Absolutely. I would not change my life for anybody else's, like not for a second, not even thinking of the days where we thought, oh crap, we made a mistake. Why would I quit my job? Or are we going to be able to, I don't know, pay for this or pay for that. It's been so worth it because it actually has showed me that all the theories that I believed in about manifestation, about connecting with their higher self are true if you allow them to have the space to recreate themselves, to be, to live.
Wow, that's amazing. Everything you're saying here is just, it makes you want to connect as well. But I know it's something that you have to train, definitely, and it's something that you have to be willing to do, because sometimes we want to be happy, but we don't do anything to do that, right? So in accordance, I'm gonna just talk to the expertise now here. Olga, what do you recommend for the people who are watching us and that are struggling with these things? What kind of, little habits do you recommend to do in order to train that connection and that thing that can lead us to success?
One is always find time to be quiet, to have silence, to even let your mind go and go. When I say silence, I don't say a blank mind. That's impossible. The mind's purpose is to think, but become an observer of those thoughts. And what you will notice is that becoming that present will allow you to clearly see how you can be the observer of the thoughts that are running through your head and that you're not the thoughts. So those moments, and we could be talking also about meditation, but sometimes people say, you know what, I think I have a hard time, I've never done it in my life, or when I sit down to meditate, it's like just a bunch of thoughts in my head. So I prefer to use the term have a quiet time or have some silence by, for example, going out for a walk. Do not read. Put your phone down.
Sorry.
Read. No. I mean, because I know that it sounds like, oh, wow, people were probably not expecting for that response. But playing literally like a sport, but it's spirituality and connection.
I remember these things were the first things that you advised me to do when I have the consultation with you.
And it sounds simple, but I see the impact of that in people's life and in my own life. That's why I insist so much, and I even kind of like raise my voice when I'm talking about it, because there's what I was talking about this with a client the other day, and I said there are spaces of nurturing in life that you will not find in therapy, a doctor, or even exercise. You have to have the play component.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you for that. Olga, I think you have told a lot about what is Olga Juno about, but would you like to tell us a little bit more about your business? What is it that you do exactly? How can you help people? And basically that.
This is a question that is hard to answer because I think that I integrate so many things into my practice that actually my husband sometimes gives me a hard time, because when we record a video that we're gonna upload to YouTube, he's like, so what am I supposed to write that you are this time? He's like, I have so many headers for you. Psychologist, coach, health coach, nutrition educator. And my best way to summarize is I'm a psychologist, I'm a coach, and I'm a medical intuitive. I integrate the. So yes, it's basically that. The main thing right now.
Amazing. That's great, because you always have this material over there and you keep helping people, heaps of people, with all the material and content that you are uploading. So that's really, really powerful. Olga, thank you so much for being here with me today. It was amazing. I think this is a really there is a lot of information in this interview. I hope people get to see it and go to your channel and follow you, because you definitely have many things to teach, especially for people that want to get started with their digital business. we need to practice some habits, and we need to get on track, and we need to be aligned, because if we are not aligned and connected, it's going to be so hard to succeed to succeed in this entrepreneurship journey. So thank you for that. Would you like to give us your details in YouTube channel and your social media?
So everywhere you can find me as Juno Health and Wellness. Juno is Juno, which is my daughter's name, like I told you guys. That's the name for the YouTube channel. That's the name for the Instagram account. JunoHealthAndWellness.com would be the website. So, or just Olga Lucia Gulati, and you would probably, if you put that on Google, you'll.
Who knows?
Juno, really? Well, no, I call my daughter everything but her name.
Interested in getting on this path of entrepreneurship growth, and for sure we need more consultations. And guys, thank you for being here watching this interview. Remember that in Digital Mompreneurs we are helping and guiding moms that are interested in getting on this path of entrepreneurship growth. And if you are interested in getting your digital business, this is the place to be. Thank you, Olga.
Thank you, Viviana. Thanks everyone that was here. This was really nice.
Amazing. I'll be seeing you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.